turning back.
All right, welcome back. New episode, a new day.
Lost Boy Scouts podcast.
Lost
Do we have
Boy-
to do the clap anymore?
I don't think we need to do the clap anymore. It's so easy now. Whatever I
said
figured
that.
out, it's like so easy now.
Yeah, you said that.
I'm really excited about how easy we've made it on ourselves. Yeah.
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 You said that all it was a quick edit, and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
decided to release like the following day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It was really, you get used to the tools, right? So for those of you who want a little insight into how the sausage is made, we use Final Cut Pro to do all of our editing and color grading and all that kind of stuff, like syncing all the intro and all that stuff, the music. And when you're just dealing with one file, just life is so easy.
Do you see that it has like too much of like storage and stuff? Like, are you noticing that you're running out of room on some of your devices that you need to
Yeah.
unclutter?
Yeah. My server died.
Oh shit.
It's okay. Apple has a good trade-in program right now. They gave me $400 for it. And I was able to swap it out, upgrade my laptop. So we'll be editing on my laptop, which is, not ideal. You want a little bit, but I think the new M3 chip and
Yeah, I have a new MacBook that I got last year, I think, and holy moly,
yeah,
it's impressive.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where you're like, because I'm an Apple guy like you, like, you as you upgrade, all of a sudden you're like, what the heck? This thing is far past my reach of knowledge.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last time we kind of did the year in review, and we rushed through some of what we were going through and what's happening. And so now we're like looking forward to like the next couple of months of, as you go on, it's like chapters. Like that's how I think about my schedule for the year is chapters, right?
Yeah.
What am I working on?
Mm-hmm.
What do I have goal wise and expectations and realistic setting? Like we talked about when you write that letter to yourself, did you go overboard or did you keep it realistic? And I hope our audience does some of those things and sets themselves up for success, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
absolutely.
You went to St. George?
Went to St. George for work. They do our annual, it was typically sales kickoff, but I think they've incorporated the whole company now.
Right.
Had an amazing opportunity to do a couple hikes. It was just nice to be in the sun. Like I can do the cold. I can't do the cold and the gray, like for very long.
Agreed.
So even though it was only like, there was a couple of days where it was in the low, mid 40s, it still felt like really warm.
Yeah.
High one day was like 52 and I was like, this is summertime.
There we go.
It was blue skies and sunny. And
your mom came out?
My mom came out, hung with the kids, no drama there.
That's good.
Yeah, she stuck around a couple extra days we're right on the the verge of the anniversary of losing Nick. And I think she just needed some extra time with me and I was totally cool with it. I took her on a bunch of errands that I had to run that day when I got back. So
good.
She was just happy to kind of tag along. And
she drove here and drove home? Yeah,
she drove here and drove home.
And did she make it home already?
Yeah.
Does she have plans for Monday?
I asked her that after you brought it up to me and on our phone call, I was like, oh man, I should probably just dive in a little bit more. So my darling cousins, they bought a bench at a park in Castle Rock, Colorado.
Okay. That
is dedicated to the memory of Nick. And so they are rallying people to just kind of be there on that day. So I think she's planning on doing that and, just kind of being with some of her extended family that's out there. Mm. She's got a sister that's out there and obviously, her nieces and nephews that were close to Nick. The boys, Nick's boys, are all planning on being there. They're going to do a dinner. So I've told my kids we're ditching on Monday. We're going to go play hooky. Maybe we'll go to a trampoline park or something. I told my dad we'd meet up for dinner maybe Sunday night and hang out. And
do you plan to go to training on Monday at all? Monday night? Or will you be?
I don't see why not.
Will you be is making sure that the kids, and because you'll have the kids that
I will have the kids. Right? You know, I think they'll be. My goal would be to get them out of the house most of the day, so then when we come back, like I can just slip out and
they can do some homework and stuff, and you can go have some you time and get your mind off everything for a little while.
Man, that like it's too important to my routine to miss. I was so glad I went last week. I was sitting in all these meetings. They gave us one free day where they really wanted us to go like meet external members, and man, I have so many thoughts on like my ability to make friends and like how I act in crowds, and just a lot of enlightenment. But
as far as critiquing, you critique
myself.
To yourself a little bit.
Yeah. But Wednesday I was just like so done with people that I was like, I need to go train.
Yeah,
I need to go train.
Get out of here for a moment.
Yeah. And so I think I got a lot of people that were like, "Oh, wow, you're really dedicated." And I'm like, "Yeah, I choked out some randos because I didn't want to choke you all out."
yeah. It's better for me to go do this here in a safe environment than do it to you in a not safe environment.
Right. Our CEO seems like a really good dude. I don't know him that well, but you just see him on stage, and they all just kind of have this swagger and this arrogance, and you're just like, I know I could choke you out.
I got you.
Yeah.
That's
I
so
would
funny.
take your back and make you squeal like a schoolgirl.
So that's so funny. And so 6 days away, and the idea of that whole year passing and where you are different in your life and how you'll address that will be important going forward after year one. Because man, after that, it's kind of like, what do you do? Do you honor Nick on a certain day? Do you honor Nick on a certain time? Do you every day be like, no, I'm just grateful for him, so I don't have to like set time aside? I don't know about that kind of thing. I know it's so weird because you go, we're so crazy to think that our life is so great that we're not going to experience loss.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're not going to experience loss.
Yeah.
Right. And loss like that.
Yeah.
Right. And there's other losses that could be 10, 15 times worse on you.
Sure.
And so you have to decide at those moments of like, how will I do these memories? What will I do? And I think, hopefully you guys figure that out, and it's just something that you can go to whatever you decide.
Yeah. I mean, that's my fear. Right. And I'm sure our listeners are kind of getting sick of us, just expressing about it. But, I'm grateful for the space that you hold. And like, that's my biggest fear is like losing that memory.
Yeah.
Like, cause I am grateful. Would not be the man I am today without him.
Sure.
I just have so much more love for my nephews, for his widow, and it's I don't know if it'll be a day. I don't know if it'll just be, we do some sort of celebration, but I do see us like that. We'll probably pick a day where,
no booze.
We really
no
just,
booze.
stay
off the booze.
Yeah. No, I've been pretty shy of it ever since the poker game that his neighborhood put me through.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, just how do we honor the memory and just kind of really remember?
I think that's important to decide and to make sure that you have a plan, because year one, you're already expecting it. After that, it's like probably going to become one of those things where you'll have to remind yourself that happened, because your life is going to like, it's crazy to how much in a year life changes. Right?
Oh yeah.
I always think about that. Like how crazy you could literally change the course of direction tomorrow of how your life is going. You could change it tomorrow, and you may not even see it until a couple days later. I honestly, like this is such a, it's an interesting way to look at things, but no way would I have thought that I was where I'm at now a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
No way. I would have thought that I was doing something completely different.
Yeah.
Every time I see those kids wrestling and doing their thing, and see little breakthroughs, I'm like, man, this is kind of cool that I'm seeing this again with fresh eyes. You know? And so that's what I think about like that with like some of those tragedies is like, look at things with fresh eyes, look at things that you're like, I'm stoked about this.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this. And you could be sad for a moment, but remember, like Nick doesn't want that.
No.
He wants you to be stoked on
He
life.
He wants us to live. He was a liver of life. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so for us, we have a lot of change going on in our house as well. I told you, but Misty got a new job. She's excited about it. She's going to be working at one of the health and wellness centers here in town, kind of running their front office and management stuff. And so we're excited about that. She's got a great personality for that. Plus her work ethic is second to none.
Yeah.
I'm so inspired by her and so in awe for her because, you know, she doesn't get regular days off. She has her schedule. Mm-hmm. And then then they build her schedule and then, okay, those are the days that I don't go to work. And so she has to plan all of her shit. Mm. She plans her hair, her nails, all of that stuff a year in advance. Wow. And then is like, hey, I need this time off because when she's scheduled for work, she goes to work.
Yeah.
She doesn't take a day off. She doesn't take, if she doesn't feel good, she figures out a way to go to work. If something's bothering her, she figures out a way to go to work. She has to like do all this jumping through the hoops to get somebody to cover a shift for her. Because she's like, no, that's my job. And I'm inspired by that because my job is not like that. If I don't want to go in, I don't go in that day.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't.
Well, you talk about planning, man. I can barely plan tomorrow, let alone like a year in advance. I'm like,
yeah. I went to breakfast with her and her new employers who we know. We know them pretty well.
Yeah, we've repped them on the podcast because they helped sponsor the men's ascent.
Yeah,
of course we did.
So she'll be at Mountain Elite Massage.
Yeah,
she'll be over there, and she's with those. They're great. And I went to breakfast with them, and they're great. They're so great. And she mentioned something that she's like, you know, I'm really going to work on my energy and how my energy affects people, because what she said was when you see CJ, she has like this quiet talk and she like does this, like the way she talks is really like quiet and soothing. And she's like, I really was inspired to be a little bit more like that, to work on that. Cause we come off like, barking all the time. And fuck, and shit, and let's fucking go. And you're like, let's go. Yeah. And she was like, I didn't get that feeling from CJ at all. And it was like really cool for Misty to have that wherewithal to see that and be like, no, I want to work on that.
There is definitely something special about CJ. I got a massage from her after I lost Nick. And you know, I've known CJ for a long time. I've had the benefit of having a lot of massages from her, but like we were just chatting, you know, and I'm kind of telling her the story and like, it's amazing. She's massaging me and she's just like this miracle worker. I shit you not. She was just like so therapeutic that like the next day I went in to do something, to drop something off. And I swear she had a cold. Like she got sick, like whatever energy she pulled out of me, like it affected her in a way where she was physically feeling it. And I swear on, and she was like, oh no, you love, you're so,
she talks is so cool.
Yeah. You know, she downplayed it, but I was like, there is no way she did not take something from me, because I left there feeling a completely different energy than when I went in. And you know, to see her have a cold, I just know that there was some connection in that energy there that, you know, she works magic.
She does. Yeah. I don't know if you know this, and I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you, but they are putting a sauna in there.
Yeah. She's mentioned that before. I've told her that.
It's getting a sauna. So I'm excited about that, because then we'll have a place to like sauna, you know, and like a consistent while things are going on for us. And so with that, like that's a big change in our household. Because, you know, my goal, like I told you on this last podcast, was to work my ass off for 100, 120 days, no breaks, just work my butt off. And that's changed a little bit in the last week. Because part of, you know, what I want to talk about tonight is how do you gauge success? Like, how do you gauge success? Like, how do you see success? I asked both my boys, how do you gauge success? Because I asked myself this question of like, how do I see success? You know, how do I see it? Because it's such a broad spectrum of things, right? And part of what I feel like is I'm I get these like little jolts of energy in something that I'm doing, but do I stick it out to the end? Do I like stick it out to the end? Jiu-jitsu for sure. Like there's no end for that for me.
Right.
So how do I find success there?
Yeah.
You know, I get my butt kicked every time I go in there.
Yeah.
There are times when I go in there that I'm like, this is going to suck tonight. I'm not going to do anything right.
Yeah.
Am I the easy round?
Yeah.
Remember when I told you that?
Yeah.
Am I the rest fucking round?
Yeah.
You know? And how can I keep going back if I don't feel success? Right?
Yeah.
Work. Where do I find success? Husband. How do I find success? Father. How do I find success? You have this big, broad spectrum, you know? And so my question to you, Tyler, is how do you gauge success?
That is a great question. To be honest, as you're talking, I'm like, success is just a social construct. It's all of what we see. And I think, unfortunately, we live in a country where success is measured by material things or status about who you are, not what you are.
Sure.
So I rely, specifically in the jiu-jitsu gym, I rely on my mentors, those upper belts that correct and complement my game. Nothing feels better than getting a compliment from professor or an upper belt or, even just having a good round. Like maybe you are the easy round, but you have that one round where you accomplish a goal, or you hit a sweep, or you catch a submission, and you're like, that's why I came today.
Yep.
Right. So that's where I measure that success. And I realize that like that's a harder measure for me. And so I do rely on that kind of external source of validation. Really, where I'd like to move to from a business perspective, from a personal perspective, is like, am I happy? Am I accomplishing the things that I want to accomplish? And I think it's really hard to gauge because there's so much external stimuli that just blasts you constantly. Well, I'm not driving the right car. Am I driving the right car? Am I living in the right neighborhood? Do I have, the right number of zeros in my bank account? Because those are all things that the people would say are markers of success. When you look at like how fragile life is, man, maybe just maintaining health is success, right? Because you talk to somebody who's on life support or going through cancer or battling some sort of disease, waking up in the morning might just be a success for them. Somebody who's struggling with sobriety, success for them might just be one day sober at a time. And every day you wake up and you hit that goal of being sober, you are successful.
Sure.
So I don't know that we need to I think we need to determine your own individual markers. I don't really necessarily know how to do it.
And this is where I find interesting, because as I'm listening to you, this is exactly what happened with me and my boys.
Mm-hmm.
Is my boys, they did the same thing. They were like saying the same things that you were saying. Well, I have this as a success. I see this as a success. Because I think as a man, it's really hard to say, am I successful, when you have so much life left?
Yeah.
Right. Am I successful?
Right.
Am I successful? Did I do something successful? And I think my personal opinion about success is, how do I respond to failure?
Yeah. Ooh. Oof. Say that again.
Right?
Yeah.
How do I respond to it?
Yeah.
How do I respond to something not going my way?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's deep.
How do I go tomorrow if I lost the girl?
Yeah.
If I lost the job?
Yeah.
If I lost somebody close to me? How do I go? How do I wake up tomorrow and do the same thing that I was supposed to do today?
Yeah.
Do the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because as a man, it's really easy to get lost in your own thoughts of why you're not successful.
Yeah.
All these things of like, do you make enough money?
Mm-hmm.
Are you good looking enough? Do you have the right body?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Is your penis size the correct size?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you have all these these things out in front of you that tell you no.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Well, there's all these gurus, all these social media.
You have these 20-year-olds that tell you how to fucking live your life.
Yeah.
I'm a life coach. Really?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. Yeah.
Could you imagine a 20-year-old telling you that you're not successful, like because you don't have the same shit that he does?
Yeah.
But it's like, but we go back to the same thing. Like, how do I respond when I don't live up to those expectations that I hold of myself?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think, somebody who's dealt with loss in a lot of different ways, like for me, I've had to start to reframe that loss as the universe is clearing something out to make way for something better. Right. And so whether or not I'm being successful at that or not is my willingness to be receptive to the message.
Sure. My
lack of presence in the moment, in any moment, is really, that's where I really should be measuring my success. Because if I'm future building or constantly stuck on the future, then I'm missing everything that's going on around me.
Agree.
My kids will grow up without me really being present because I'm worried about, living up to what Madison Avenue, the marketers, think is important. Maybe because that is what they've done traditionally. They've told you that your life isn't good enough if you don't have XYZ product.
Agreed.
And your life will be better if you purchase XYZ product.
And you know what then happens? XYZ product gets version 2. Yep. And guess what you don't have?
Version 2.
You don't have version 2.
Right.
Everything in our life right now is like, you need to upgrade.
Yeah.
You need to upgrade this to make your life better. Really? Really?
Yeah.
Because I go back to my question is how do you gauge success?
Right.
Well, something that, like I told you, that I got from Alex Hormozi was, what would 85-year-old Danny think right now is look back on my life and say, you were successful.
Yeah.
Because only I care. I truly only care about my successes.
Right. Right.
I want you, Tyler, to be successful. I want so bad for your life to be successful, but I'm not responsible to ensure that you're successful.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for my successes for you to go like, oh man, I'm going to keep up with Danny.
Yeah.
Right. And so gauging it, that has zero input to, it really doesn't matter to me why you gauge success. What matters is like, how do you respond when the shit hits the fan? Are you running at the firefight? Yeah. Or are you running away because you're like, I'm too fucking, I don't know what to do. Or you like, fuck it, I'll figure it out as I go.
Yeah. And there's probably opportunities for both, right? Like there's not to say that one way or the other is the good way. Sometimes you might need to retreat, right? Sometimes you might need to retreat and reevaluate.
Protect yourself.
Yeah. Protect yourself and sometimes you may need to run into it, right? What's the story of the buffalo, right? Like the buffalo will run through the storm because it knows the better food is at the end of the storm.
Yeah. And so making this a full circle thing is like, just remember, like for failures, like if we don't fail, if we're not putting ourselves out there to fail, if we're not like going full steam ahead sometimes, we don't see how far we can take things.
Right.
That's not like, and I'm not even talking, and I definitely am not a proponent of vices.
Right.
Vices are good and bad though.
Right.
Right. But you have to like see the limits of what you're capable of.
Yeah.
Right. And I believe that this right here, the fact that we've been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
And we are like, nope, this is part of our plan.
Right.
This is our plan. If we were to be like, tomorrow, you know what we should do? We should start a podcast on this. We should start, and then in 5 weeks, we get that like burst of energy, and we're like, oh man, we have this idea.
Yeah.
But we stay consistent in this.
Yeah.
We stay in this platform. We find out what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I measure my success on those kind of things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What have I been doing long enough to be like, man, I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good. I haven't quit. I haven't quit my job.
Yeah.
I haven't quit my family.
Yeah.
I haven't quit my job as a husband.
Yeah.
And I for sure haven't quit jiu-jitsu and the grappling arts.
Right.
So there are times that I think I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah.
So I can measure
Yeah.
a little bit of success on that.
Yeah.
Where I fail is when I don't get that burst of energy. And do I put my shoes on and do the exact same thing tomorrow?
Right. Well, I think sometimes we get so worried about failure that we don't even start. And, I just came from down in the Valley where I helped host it's called Principles Over People.
Okay.
It was set up by my therapist. It's a men's group he's trying to start this year, where we really talk about how principles, how to apply principles to become a better human being. And one of the things I brought up in the meeting was that, like, we have these experiences, positive and or negative. It doesn't matter. They are experiences. We can personalize them and make them about us. And we can say, poor me, or look at me, how great I am. But that's not really the point.
Sure.
The point is to gain wisdom from these experiences to propel you further.
Sure.
Right. And so, let's not personalize the experience. Let's not personalize what the external world is telling us success is. Let's build our own definition, and let's use our own wisdom and hard work and principled effort to propel ourselves forward. And while we're doing it, if we can link arms and raise other men up with us, why not take a couple of your best fellows with you?
Yeah. Yeah. Why is it that as men, sometimes we like shoot shots at each other to break each other down because you do something better than me, or you look different than me, or just something, and we get in the way of each other.
Right.
As opposed to, like, we have a common goal.
Yeah.
Here's our common goal.
Yeah.
Let's figure out how to get to that common goal. And then, you know what we should do? The people that have done it already, we should ask them questions.
Yes.
And we should be like, hey, how did you do that?
Yeah.
Can you show me how you did that? And if they are like, man, nobody's ever asked me how I did that. Here's how I did it. And we're like, cool, man, great. We gained perspective. We gave insight. We gained the ability to grow.
Yeah.
Right. And if a man does not keep up, you don't have to cut him out, but it's not your responsibility to make sure he keeps up.
Yeah. Yeah. There's only so far, there's like this whole theory about, well, we've talked about lobsters, but you put lobsters in a bucket, right? They start pulling each other down.
Yeah.
Right. You can't, you want to surround yourself with those people that push you to be better.
No.
And yeah, you don't want to be hanging on to dead weight. Get rid of those friends that are bringing you down, that are keeping you stagnant. Because I think that is true failure. True failure is remaining the same, remaining in a homeostasis because it feels safe. And that's what our brain often wants to trick us to do, right? All our brain cares about is being safe.
Yep.
And maintaining safety. And it will often create problems so that it has, a use. But a lot of times, like, we have to be smarter than our brain, right? Like, we have to remember that we are in control.
I agree. And I don't know the failures that 5 years ago Tyler went through.
Yeah.
I have no idea what 5 years ago Tyler looked like.
Yeah.
Same with me.
Right.
You have no idea what I was struggling with, what I was going through 5 years ago. All you know is that where we are right now, we bond, we fight for the same fight, and what we went through brought us to where we are now. And it made us who we are. It made us the strength that we have, right? And it's obvious when you do the same thing, like we do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Right. We both practice jiu-jitsu. I have 10 years of jiu-jitsu under my belt. You have a year of jiu-jitsu. We can see that. Yeah. We can see that there's a disparity in the fact that, like, I've been doing it longer than you. Yeah. Right. But living as a man, we've both been doing the same thing. Yeah. And look at where we are now. Look at who we are now. Yeah. We wake up every day. We smile. We go and we do the things that we're supposed to do. We still go to our tribe. We still practice something that makes us better. We still accept failures. So can we gauge our success off of that? Yeah, for sure. Because we don't look at the failures. We don't think about the failures that we went through, because they weren't failures in our eyes. They were learning blocks. They were learning lessons, because we didn't give up.
Yeah.
We have not stopped, right? And things have beat us down. There have been some things that like beat the shit out of you.
Oh yeah.
That beat the shit out of you. That you still are like, man, I am struggling with that today.
Yep.
But your ability to be successful outweighs your ability to be like, fuck it, fuck it. I'll just go drink myself to a stupor.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And so I gauge your success. I can see that you're successful.
So what you're saying is really that the measure of success is in your ability to maintain consistency.
Always.
Rather than you are successful if you are maintaining consistency towards whatever your end outcome is.
And always knowing that like when shit hits the fan, that you're not going to just cower.
Yeah.
Curl under a ball and put somebody else out there to take the damage. You're going to be like, nope, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm good.
How would you measure your success as a parent? Is it the same? Like, obviously you're always a parent, even when your children are grown, and maybe that dynamic shifts a little bit.
Always.
But for the most part, you're still the parent. You still have, years of wisdom, decades of wisdom that your child doesn't have.
I understand. And I think, especially in the fact that parenting is so organic, that everything that you do is the first time that you've done that.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's the first time I've done that. Maybe I've had an experience where something was close, but what my kids give me is the first time that I'm doing that at that moment. Mm-hmm. Right. And so you give yourself like leeway to make mistakes, but you never, ever, ever, ever falter in them knowing that you are there, that no matter what, you're there. And so when somebody pays a compliment to you and you're like, man, you have no idea what just happened in my house and what I just said to my kid. And they're like, oh, you have the greatest kids. You're the greatest. You guys have a great relationship. You're like, hey, you have no idea what we just did.
Yeah.
I think that you can say to yourself, that's pretty good success.
Right. Yeah. I think that's interesting too, specifically with relationships, right? Your ability. I personally would measure the success of my relationship based on the ability to repair.
Sure.
Because nobody's perfect, right? You're going to have those moments when your nervous system is just whacked and you pop off and yell at your kids. And not only do they need to see you create and initiate that repair, they need to see that humility because you're teaching them that for their own future interactions. But it's good for you to find that humility and to say, hey, this wasn't right. Yeah. Let's correct this.
Yeah. Regulating things. We talked about that before, like regulating your emotions.
Yeah.
Having your kids see you regulate yourself or dysregulate yourself.
Yeah.
Could be, could work both ways, right?
Yep.
You're not regulated and all of a sudden you're self-medicating and or you're like, not today. Man, your head down on your phone all the time.
Yeah.
What do? They mimic everything that you do.
Absolutely.
Right. I think like for me and my boys, especially, and I was excited to ask you that question. I almost like texted it to you so many times, but I wanted to do it like in live form.
Yeah.
In live form where you were like, where your brain goes, starts answering. Then you can digest it a little bit.
Yeah.
And you can start to see like that there are so many ways to gauge.
Yeah.
But there's so many ways to also like critique.
Yeah.
Critique. Maybe I'm not as successful as I thought I was.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. What maybe this is why I'm not, doing the things that maybe something is getting in the way. Maybe I'm getting in the way.
Yeah.
Of seeing how great I actually am as a man. When you propose those kind of questions and like all of a sudden it's like on the spot, boom. Now you have time to digest it.
Yeah.
Going forward, like both my boys have since texted me other things that they thought later on.
They can digest it. And
it's
true. I think when you get in your own way of success, that's the exact personalization I was talking about, right? We're personalizing an external stimuli.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's good. I think it's good to be reflective. I think it's good to be like, let's put ourselves on the spot and then have to really think about the question. I want to hear what you have to say in the moment And then, let's see how your brain works it out. I mean, we're just giant computers, right?
It's so true.
Sometimes we take a little bit longer to compute things than necessary, but
yeah. And the one thing that we both, my boys and I both talked about, because I've been really trying to capture being in this moment and like not moving on and not finding the next thing that that makes me happy, like I'm a simple man. I do simple things, but there's some skills that I lack, some skills that I just don't quite know. And sometimes it's probably because I'm afraid of failing. For a couple of weeks, I put myself in bottom side mount. I let guys mount me. I talked about that.
Yeah.
And it sucked, and I got a rib injury now, so I can't quite do it, but I don't want to go down there, but I'm willing to go down there and struggle. I do not know Excel or any of those spreadsheet stuff, but I really want to learn how to do them. And so I've decided like the next couple of months, I'm going to sit and just be okay not knowing. And so I'm going to ask a lot of questions like, hey, what would you do here? Like, what do you do there? And I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't.
I think you're going to be on the, have you seen like the Excel spreadsheet games?
No,
there is like a legit competition for Excel.
Really?
That like formulas and that kind of stuff. It gets intense. These guys are fast.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I have no idea about those things, but I want to get better at them. I think like for my own personal businesses and business things, I need to know that I can like focus on a skill set and just stick to that skill set.
Yeah.
And I think it will benefit me and future endeavors if I am able to accept the fact that I just don't know.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be a reason to stop. Because if I stopped jiu-jitsu because I didn't know jiu-jitsu, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And if I take the same look and I take the same ideas about that and approach them the same way, just be humble and grateful that people are willing to accept the fact that I fuck this thing like crazy.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
What do I do with this? How do I create this?
Yeah.
And, tell me the same thing 10 different times.
Yeah.
So you got to learn somewhere.
Yeah.
And so we all committed to the fact that like, there's just some skills that we're going to get better at.
Yeah.
And I think that's a measure of a man.
Yeah. I think that's so true.
Any skills that you're like working on currently that you're like, I don't know what to do or how to do this, so I'm going to figure it out.
On the opposite end of that, are there any skills you're like, I don't need that. I will never need that.
No, I don't know.
You don't know?
No. What about you? That's what I'm saying. Do you have any skills that you're working on right now?
Yeah. I mean, obviously with each episode of the podcast that comes out, I went back and I look at like, how is our color looking in like over the life of the episodes? And I'm noticing that like, it's kind of all over the place. Right. So I'm trying to get more standardized in doing that. Like for me, it's kind of a hobby. I know that there's plenty of people out there that do this professionally, but like, making sure that we have like kind of a professional look to what we do here is important to me, right? Like it may just be two dudes sitting in, a studio, like rapping to each other, but like, I want there to be a level of professionalism. Yeah. Like, that's why I invested in equipment that like will help capture and engage the audience, right? Like, could you imagine how terrible this would be to listen to if it was just like you and I on our phone, like trying to record?
It goes back to that whole idea of like this version of Tyler, what he could teach episode 1 version of Tyler. Yeah. Like imagine like if episode 1 version of Tyler's seen now, what this version of Tyler, he'd be like, damn, you made it this far, brother, in 47 episodes.
Yeah.
Some people I've heard, people have said, you guys sound like you've been doing this for your like 10 years.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we've not been doing it for that long. They're like, holy crap, how fast you've made it, because it's like what you said, it's consistent.
Yeah.
It's always consistent.
Always consistency.
What about skills that you don't think you need? That you absolutely don't think you need?
Skills I don't think I need. It's hard to say. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything that, I guess probably like roof a house.
Like, I was gonna say, I have one. I have one that I just thought of.
Yeah.
Handle a gun. Like I truly don't know if I need that.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to anything about a handgun.
Yeah.
I've been around rifles and I've hunted and stuff, and I don't like them still.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I truly have only like had a handgun in my hand maybe less than 5 times for sure.
I think it's one
and
of those.
I don't know if I need it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no, I think you're absolutely right. I kind of, maybe I'm on the other end of that. I'm like, it's something, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't tell this story on the podcast. It's one of those things I swore would go to the grave with me. I had a negligent discharge with a handgun.
You did.
And it scared the absolute shit out of me to the point where I'm like, my neighbors are going to call the police, so I'm going to beat them to it. I was cleaning it and just new to guns, and it went off in my house. Luckily, my family was all off. Nobody was around.
I have the most inappropriate joke that I just thought of when you said that. It's a very inappropriate joke. It's the first time, as a young guy, you're in the shower.
Yeah.
You start cleaning your wiener and all of a sudden it went off.
Yeah. What is this? What is the saying? This is my rifle. This is my gun.
I tell that people all the time. Like, I say that all the time. Like, when you said that, it reminded me of my joke when I'm like, oh yeah, I was cleaning my wiener once and it went off. Dude, really?
Yeah.
So do you remember Jordan, blue belt down in Lehigh?
Yeah.
He dry fired his gun and it was loaded and shot his hand. Do you remember that?
I didn't know that.
Did you ever see the picture? Brutal. Yeah, shot, put his, I don't really know what this means, but dry fired.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what I thought. I didn't know. There's a difference between like hammerless guns, which don't have like, the typical, right? And the gun I was using was hammerless. And so you couldn't tell that, like when I racked it, that there was one in the chamber. I didn't have the skills as a new gun owner to do that, and I'm assuming that sounds. I guess he held it to his hand, pulled the trigger, and I guess there's no way to make it. It's one of the guns. I'm probably fucking this up. Put the handgun to his hand, and he'd done it a million times, I guess, where like he pulls the trigger and it doesn't do anything because it doesn't have a way to do it. Yeah, if you push the slide back a little bit, it won't. You won't shoot the gun. The gun won't physically fire. That's what and boom, and shot his hand. It blew out the backside of his hand. Ouch. Which to me is like, again, why I'm not ever doing that kind of thing. Yeah. It was, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. No, you. I was gonna say, it was one of those things where like after that, like, I mean, to me, the Second Amendment is use it or lose it, right? Like, so I just took it upon myself to get every bit of training I could take. Every bit of training. And then to pass that training down to my kids. I mean, the Second Amendment was built, was established for a reason. And I hope to God we never have to get to that, because it's bloody and it's horrible. And I hope that I never have to use it. Did you see the story on that popped up just recently? There's body cam footage of a gentleman in Utah caught in the act of stabbing his parents. And the cops they bust in the door. And that footage just popped up just recently, like within the last few days. And I hope to never be in those situations. I don't want to be in those situations. I'm really grateful for people that have the mental and emotional capacity to do those type of things. And, if you guys ever need to rap about it and, want to just chat, like, well, I'll listen, because I'm really grateful for what you do. So I don't have to do it. Cause I'm like you, like I definitely don't, like, I went through a phase where like, I felt like I needed a gun to be safe. And I'm like, I don't think I'm there anymore. Right. Like, I don't think that's quite the case. And I think that was a lot of my ego. A lot of my ego was like, oh, you need to have these guns. And now you're like badass, because you're like Jason Bourne or whatever, like cool gun, John Wick or whatever. And you're like, I'd be the guy that like stuck my gun in my pocket and shot myself in the leg. Like, fuck, I'd be that guy. Who's that guy's name? Because that's who I'd be. Whoever that knucklehead is. That was, did you ever see that video? There's that cop teaching an inner city school about the 9mm, and he discharges and shoots himself right in the leg. Oh my gosh. And you're like, It's not a toy. It's a tool.
I'm good. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Somebody get a tourniquet.
Yeah. Right.
Dude, I have so many stories of people that I know that have done stupid shit with a gun. And I think that's why I don't need one. But again, a skill set like that, I don't think, I don't know if I need it. I probably do. Like, I probably need to get more comfortable around them, but I'm terrified of them.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of what they will do or what, you know, like, I was teaching Trip and I were teaching the white to blue belt moves or class the other day. And I was telling him, I was like, the greatest thing about jiu-jitsu that I've learned is that I just say sorry, walk away. Because I have no idea that. Could you imagine meeting Tristan? You don't know him, thinking that you could kick this punk's ass, and that dude tunes you up, and you're like, what the hell? Anthony's Anthony. You look at Anthony, you're like, yeah, I'm not fucking with him.
Yeah.
Trip, you're like, I want to fuck with him. Yeah. And that dude would hurt you just the same. So I don't know what people know. So I'm like, nah, man, I just want to smile and go about my way and fist bump and be like, hey, sorry, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. That was we'd been having this conversation, me and my boys, the other day, and it brings me back to the things that we're trying to do with this whole platform.
Yeah.
And the idea that I know for a fact that we stay consistent in what we're doing, and we don't wander, we don't falter, we stay in our lane that we're doing with our paths that we've set.
Yeah.
And in, who knows, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years. Yeah. But those people that meet us in 10 years will never know the struggles that we went through to get there.
Yeah.
You know? And so this right here to me is how I gauge it, because I think we are moving in the right direction.
Dude, super insightful. I appreciate the topic.
You with your working towards your master's to help with family therapy and to help with therapy, myself continuing to breathe and work with high life breathing and getting those ideas out there along with what we're doing on this platform is only going to project us and propel us to be very successful men that people look to and be like, oh, I want to be like Tyler and Danny, you know? And the guys that are just barely starting, like their podcast stuff and their social media stuff, are like asking us questions like we are, like we know what the hell we're doing. Yeah. You know, we're like, shit, man, we go into a basement and just get down and talk and one rap and we're going. And I think it's amazing. And so I think if that's it, 85-year-old Danny will be stoked that I experienced this in my life.
Right.
You know,
we put it out there. It's going to live on YouTube forever.
I know. And then I have a friend like you.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
Because we're pretty busy right now. We don't see each other as much as we have before in the past.
Yeah.
But it's not like I get upset or anything, because I'm just stoked that you're doing what you're doing.
It is amazing, because I do feel like we have one of those friendships where like it is busy. You got the wrestling and I'm working, and like we'll check in on each other. We're very good at like, I hope I'm doing better at like, you know, hey, I haven't heard from you in a few days. Like, let's just check in. But it's like, it's never one of those things where it's like, I feel like we could pick up right where we left off. And I think that's the beautiful thing about our relationship. So yeah, super grateful for that.
Yeah. What you got coming up? A couple weeks,
man, just trying to keep warm, dude. It is stupid cold.
Gosh,
stupid cold.
Insane. Yeah. I put every layer of clothing that I possibly could put on.
Yeah.
Just to go outside.
Yeah.
Ugh. So gross.
I don't have much going on, you know, just keeping warm. I don't think I'm going to make it to Florida this year.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm super bummed about it, but just budget wise, that's one of the other things I'm trying to work on. I'm trying to get good with money. Get good with money. That's the name of the book I'm reading right now.
Get good with money.
Get good with money.
Nice.
Because I like money and money likes me.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
And so we're trying to get good with it.
Good.
So really just training, you know, going to try to ski a little bit and, you know, just be with my kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully I'm trying my hardest to get off next Monday so I can come train and see you guys and make sure I'm there for you that night.
Yeah.
We're busy with wrestling. Florida, and then come home, wrestle for a couple days, and then leave to Mexico for a couple days.
You have any contenders for state?
No.
Too new of a program.
But we do have some kids that will definitely turn some heads.
Cool.
We are a fledgling program. We are learning a lot with each other. It's a very cool dynamic to have a father and son be able to be on the same page. And we have 2 of those, me and Tristan, and then Larry and Jared, both father and sons. And we get along. We don't butt heads over everything. We let the proof be in the pudding. And the kids are starting to buy in. We're really working hard on mentality right now. We're really working hard on like enjoying the moment and like feeling like you belong there and not like I'm a poser. And because some of these kids are really, really good, and like you can get really, really good with wrestling in a very short amount of time if you trust every single thing that the coach teaches you and you do exactly the way the coach teaches you. If you think, oh, I'm gonna do it this way, it's just like jiu-jitsu. If we did it our own way, we have to go back and correct so much.
Yeah.
So if we just do it the way the professor teaches us, then you're 5, 10, 15 steps ahead of everybody else, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, I've seen this before. Oh, I've seen this before. Oh, I've seen this before. So it's repetitive, right?
Yep.
And with grappling arts, repetitiveness is the key. You just do the same thing over and over and over and over. And then you find little tricks to get you back to that position that makes you happy again. That's how wrestling is. So I think that we'll turn some heads. I think that we'll improve a lot. And I'm excited. Learning the parent side and the budget side and the bullshit is not fun. I was on a conversation with Kurt Futch today, who, thank goodness, he takes the time. He's so busy. But we were on an hour conversation of just some of these things that I just got to get better at, which is why I did this, so that Tristan didn't have to deal with this shit that I have to deal with, which is the books and the bullshit. Yeah. It's a lot. So, so I appreciate this conversation. I was so excited to talk to you about this. I was like, I'm not even joking when I tell you, I almost texted you last night so you could have preparation.
Oh, I'm so glad you didn't. So glad it makes the conversation that much more organic and authentic. And that's what we strive for, right? Like no filters on this, this it's raw, it's real. It's what it's,
I agree.
There may be a little bit of editing, but
nothing that takes away from the whole dynamic of it. So cool, man. Well, I appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Grateful for you.
And cheers to our listeners. Thank you. Hit us up on socials. If you've got questions, if you want a topic that we want to, or a book you want us to review, we're taking ideas and open to discussing things that maybe you're struggling with. Yeah, for sure. And come see me at High Life Breathing if you're looking to get into any kind of breathing help with your life. If you're just looking for space, we can hold space. We can both do that for men. If you're looking for paths, things to change, areas to improve, don't be that guy that just beats the shit out of yourself, right? Because you don't see yourself as who society's supposed to see you as. Keep hanging in there, because keep fighting the good fight. Shit's not that serious. It's not that serious. Sunday open mats. Yes, I'll be there. Come see us in. Come see us in open mat. Yeah, especially if you disagree. Come hang out. Yeah, for sure. All right, cheers, everybody. Cheers. Rise up, no turning back.